Hey guys, and welcome to our final installment of how to make your own workouts. So today we're going over strength, the very last part of our workout series. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Today, my goal is to help you to understand what strength training really means, what it entails, why everybody ought to be doing it, the appropriate weights and the sets, and then finally how to actually design a program to help you get stronger without getting you injured or overloading your central nervous system. Also, not a good idea. Of course, we have everything that we've gone over. We've gone over warm up. We're in the workout, and we're actually going to touch just a little bit on cool down. We've actually been talking about it this entire time. I'm not going to go too far in the weeds on that one, but I will touch on it. Must-haves for any training program. I go over this during every video because it is extremely important that you know where you're going and where you want to head. So we have our training goal. Number one, gotta have it. Make sure that you have the appropriate amount of time allotted to get to your goals, and then make sure you make a commitment to yourself. That's the most important one, because if you don't commit to achieving your goal, you're gonna quit. You're gonna quit really fast. I've seen it happen a lot, but not you, because you've made a commitment. Okay, remember, we take everything in cycles so that our body has optimal amount of time to recover and to adapt to the training stimulus that we're giving to it. So we have a deload, endurance cycle, hypertrophy, strength. You could throw in power. This is just an example. You don't have to take it in this specific order, but if you're going for a good, well-rounded, general purpose fitness, this is a pretty good way of taking it. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty parts. What does it really mean to strength train? Strength is more than just being able to pick up a heavy weight and put it back down. If you think about people who can move these astronomical amounts of weight, it's super impressive. But really what it is, it's a matter of coordination. How well can you coordinate the tension throughout your entire body to execute this one task? So in the example of like a bench press or a shoulder press or a back squat or a deadlift, if you cannot create tension throughout your midline, your hips, your upper back, everywhere, you're not going to be able to move a whole bunch of weight. A deadlift, for example, it's typically not a lack of leg strength that you can't pick up a heavier weight. It's usually because we have a lack of coordination and a lack of tension throughout your body. And once you have that lack of tension, you've just opened up the floodgates for an injury to happen. We don't want that. So strength is the ability to coordinate as many muscles as possible to move this one weight. Whether it be a bench press, a shoulder press, back squat, deadlift, moving heavy equipment without getting hurt. If you're a health worker, it might be moving a patient from bed to bed. There is so many applications for strength, which leads us to our next point. When you think about strength, people typically think about bodybuilders, powerlifters, and farmers. Don't sleep on that farm strength. We think about these people and we think, oh, these people are strong. Now, to be fair, if you're going to compete in powerlifting, you absolutely need to be strong. And if you are going to be a farmer, you need to be strong because that is hard work. Both of those require a substantial amount of work. Bodybuilders are a little bit different. Some of them are extremely strong. Some of them just have what we like to call show pony muscles. And those are just muscles that are big and puffy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're strong. You can have a good-looking physique and not be incredibly strong. Now, you have to train specifically for that, and that's beyond the scope of this video series, so you'll have to ask for more information on that one. But here's the thing, gang. Strength is applicable for everyone. Like I said, if you are a parent and you're trying to pick up your kids and keep up with your kids, if you are a healthcare worker and you are responsible for moving patient from bed to bed or bed to chair or bed to standing up, you need to have strength, especially if you're dealing with a person who's larger than you are. Now, some more reasons why it's applicable for everybody is because it helps increase your bone mineral density, your joint stability, and your neural synapses. The more tension we can create throughout our body, the safer your joints are going to be because the muscles surround every one of our joints in our body. So the stronger the muscle, the safer the joint. Now, the joint does have tendons and cartilage and ligaments that are supposed to keep it safe. However, if you make the muscles that surround that joint even stronger, it's going to be a lot more difficult for that joint to come out of place, to get loose, and to move in ways that it's not supposed to move. Now, bone mineral density. Bones get stronger as a result of stress. So you can create stress on your bones in a lot of different ways. You could sit there and go punch rocks. kick logs, or run yourself into a wall, or you could just do some resistance training. The stress that you put on your bones forces the bones to make those adaptations to get stronger because you put some weight on there or you start providing a stressor to your bones and your body's like, whoa, I gotta change up my game. And it's forced to get stronger and forced to create this dense matrix of molecules to make sure that everything stays really tight. The last thing is it helps increase your neural synapses. Neural synapses are really where it's at when it comes to maximizing strength. So you could have a person who doesn't look very impressive at all, but they can crush rocks. Looking at you, farmers. These are people who have trained for years and years, and as a result, their body has learned to recruit more muscles, and it does that by increasing the amount of neurons and the neural synapses that connect your brain to your muscle. So the more neural synapses you have firing to any given muscle, the stronger it's going to be. Basically, it's just recruiting the muscle that's already there. So the more neural synapses you have, the stronger you are. And this is what I was getting at. You can have a bodybuilder who has really big puffy muscles, but they may only be doing bicep curls. And then on the other hand, you might have a farmer who doesn't look very impressive, but can sit there and move hay bales and these giant chains and tractor weights all day long, no problem. It's specific to what you're training for. Now, here's the most frustrating thing about strength. It takes a long time to gain strength. A long time. And even more frustrating is that it atrophies and it goes away really fast. You can notice a difference in strength within a week. So if you're training consistently for, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 months, and you are crushing it, you're making all these good things happen, and then you go on vacation. Oftentimes people will feel like they've lost a substantial amount of ground in their strength. And that is the nature of strength training. It takes a long time to develop, and especially if you're in these sports of powerlifting or strongman or strongwoman competitions, it takes a long time to build up that strength. It's a very difficult lifestyle to maintain. Okay. And yes, I realized I forgot to change hypertrophy. Strength is low volume, so we're talking 1 to 6 reps at a time, followed by heavy weight, that's 85+% of your 1 rep max, and with a pretty long rest period. We're talking 2 to 5 minutes depending on the activity and what you're doing. All right, so let's talk about that specifically. Again, warm up, non-negotiable. A stretch, activate, integrate. Gotta make sure all systems are firing. Hold on. Especially if you are going to move heavy weight. It is imperative to make sure that all systems are firing. You got to make sure that your abs are talking to your upper back's talking to your legs are talking to your glutes are talking to your feet are talking to your ears and your nose, everything. The more coordination, the more awareness you have of your entire body while you're doing these heavy lifts, the safer you're going to be, the more weight you're going to move, and the more bang for your buck you're going to get out of every single workout. So be sure you do your warm up. All right, so in this example, we're gonna use squats again, because I love me some squats. So we have 6 rounds of 2 reps at 90% of your 1 rep max with a 3 to 4 minute rest. Now, if you have a true 1 rep max, anything above 85% is gonna get real saucy real quick. So you're only doing 12 reps, but those 12 reps should be exhausting if we're keeping everything as tight as we should and if we are moving with excellence. Now you can split hairs on the accessory work, but I went with strict strength guidelines. If I'm doing hamstring curls, I'm gonna do 5 sets, 5 reps at a pretty heavy weight. So that means by the time you get to reps 3, 4, and 5, they should be pretty stinking tough. And you're gonna have a pretty good rest period there. Same thing with leg extensions. Calf raises are a little bit different. You're gonna do 5 sets, 8 reps with a heavy weight. Calves by nature have a little bit more endurance fibers in there, so you get a little bit of flow room there. But anyway, this is just an example. It's not the end all be all. And then finally, we have a cash out or a cool down. So in this scenario, I did a 20-yard banded sidestep. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot of volume in there, right? I mean, I think if you add that up, that ends up being what? That ends up being like 102 reps. Yes, I had to pause and do that math. Don't judge. Especially compared to an endurance cycle, you could have an accessory work, you could have one exercise equal that amount in one exercise. But that is the nature of strength. Strength is low volume, heavy weight, high rest period. Here are some common questions that I get when people talk about strength. I say, hey, we're gonna do a strength cycle. And people say, I don't want to do strength training because it'll make me bulky. Look, gang, in order to get bulky, you have to A, train like this all the time. We're talking hypertrophy and strength, and you have to eat a grotesque amount of protein. I can guarantee you, most 21st century dwellers are getting the bare minimum of protein that they're supposed to be having per day. I would even venture to say most people get less protein than they need just for maintenance. Don't worry about getting bulky. I've had a lot of people say, oh, I bulk easy. No, you don't. Now, your clothes may fit different after a strength or a hypertrophy workout because you have a whole bunch of blood flowing into those muscles to make all these good things happen. And that is totally normal. That's gonna happen, but that's gonna subside pretty stinking quick. So don't worry about it. You're probably not eating enough to get bulky. All right, what if I don't have weights? Can I still do strength training? You can absolutely get stronger on just body weight. I mean, think about gymnasts, for crying out loud. They are incredibly strong. You think about the energy it takes to be able to flip around those bars and do those floor routines and jump and do all these flips and handsprings and stuff like that. It takes a lot of strength to be able to do that. So 100% you can get stronger without weights. But you have to make sure that you progress the right way, because body weight exercises tend to be 0 to 100. So it's either, okay, here's my modification here, and then here's the next progression. But you need to be intentional. You need to be thinking about what you're doing, but you can absolutely do it. What's the risk of injury when working with heavy weights? This is one that I get quite a bit. A lot of people, because there are a couple of fraudulent studies that were created back in the day that have somehow maintained their status in the mainstream media. A lot of people think that once you start moving heavy weights, you're gonna get injured. Gang, if you hold a knife the wrong way, you're gonna get injured. Same thing with weight training. If you are not paying attention to the technique and what you're supposed to be doing, you can absolutely get hurt. You have to pay attention to what's supposed to be moving, where it's supposed to be moving, and how you move. And that's how you stay safe. In all honesty, if you look at rate of injury for all sports across the board, Olympic weightlifting, which is the most technical thing you can do with the bar in your hands, the clean and jerk and the snatch, there is a much lower rate of injury for Olympic weightlifters than there are for sports like tennis, where you are jogging back and forth, unilateral movements with one arm. It's a harsh sport, and the rate of injury for tennis is way the heck up there. So when you're going into your strength training program, focus on your technique. The weight that's on the bar is a lot less important than how you're moving. You can get stronger with just a PVC pipe or a bare naked bar. You just have to be intentional with what you're doing. There are so many benefits to strength training, and as you get older, it becomes so much more important to make sure that you incorporate strength training into your training program, whether you're a cyclist, a swimmer, a runner, a power lifter, a parent chasing after their kids. It's important for everybody, and especially for women, because as women get older, it's very easy to fall into osteopenia and osteoporosis. And if you do not provide your bones with that stressor, with that stimulus, your bones have no reason to get stronger, so they just get brittle, and then you make that one fall, that one slip. Now you got a broken hip. Just prevent that from happening altogether, guys. Get yourself stronger, make those bones stronger. Okay, now the last thing is a cool down, and we've already kind of talked about it a little bit. I didn't make a slide for this one. A cool down is anything you can do to get your heart rate back down to a relative normal. So in all the examples I've given, I gave glute bridges on one of the other ones. I did a 20-yard side step today. They're very easy exercises, and it's just to help bring your body back down before you get back into your daily routine. It's just as important as the warm-up. So be sure that you have some kind of a cool down. Some people like going for a little jog. Some people like stretching. Some people like doing glute bridges, side steps. It doesn't matter. Just something very simple, very easy that you can do at the end of your workout to help get your body back to homeostasis. Gang, we made it through the entire thing. How to make your own workouts. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I had a really great time doing this. We barely scratched the surface of it, but this is a huge topic, and I just wanted to give you something easy to digest that you can put into your training right away. Very practical tips. You guys have a great day. Train well, train smart, be safe.